Hey everybody and welcome to another video. This is the unit showcase. The unit showcase is where we look at different units from different games. Now in this video, we are going to have a look at the free frame that came with the Wargames Illustrated issue 441. Now the link to this flip through of the magazine is in the top corner and also in the description. So if you haven't seen it, yeah, go and have a view. This free frame is, like I said, from Warlord Games, and this is from their Napoleonic Late War French Infantry box. Now, long-time viewers would recognize this box. We did a review of this box with SL's paint job. The link to that video is in the corner and in the description. Now, it's going to be a great experience for me to also put some paint on the same figures I reviewed from another painter. Not for comparison, but it's just a good experience. I had someone ask me in the store the other day if he were to get this box instead of the more traditional looking French infantry set, why would he do it? So what I did was I did a little bit of research because I knew I was gonna do this video as well. So let's see what I found out. Now the late part of the Napoleonic Wars covers four periods: the 1812 Russian campaign, the 1813 War of the Sixth Coalition, the 1814 campaign in France, and the 1815 Hundred Days War, Hundred Days War, and the War of the Seventh Coalition. Now that's quite a lot of battles. So let's break them down very quick. Now, very quickly, if I get some of the pronunciations wrong, I hope I'm forgiven. But I'm trying my best here. Some of these places are not easy for me to pronounce. So let's do this. That's right. So during the Russian campaign, apart from the Battle of Smolensk and Borodino, the army would most likely be in greatcoats for the Battle of Malieroslavets, uh, October 24th, 1812, the Battle of Yasma, November 3rd, 1812, Battle of Krasnoy, November 15th to 1812, and the Battle of Berezima, November 26th to November 29th, 1812. So during these few battles, you probably the army will most probably be in great coats. Now, in during the War of the Sixth Coalition, Lutzen and Bautzen would be the only ones where the infantry would not be in great coats. So that means that the Battle of Dresden, August 26th to 1813, the Battle of Kulm, August 29th to 1813, the Battle of Kasbach, August 1813, the Battle of Dennewitz, September 6th, the Battle of Leipzig, October 16th to 19th, the Battle of Hanau, October 30th to 31st, 1813. All of these would have infantry in greatcoats. So this box would be perfect if you're gonna uh, use the figures to battle any of these battles, or to recreate any of these battles. As for the campaign for France, now if you intend to focus your army build on just these, all the battles were in greatcoats. This includes the Battle of Brienne, January 29th, the Battle of La Rotierie, February 1st, and the Battle of Champaubert, um, February 10th, the Battle of Montreuil, February 11th, the Battle of Château-Thierry, February 12th, the Battle of Vauchamp, February 14th, the Battle of Montmount, February 17th, the Battle of Montereau, February 18th, the Battle of Crayon, March 7th, the Battle of Laon, March 9th to 10th, the Battle of Rheims, March 13th, and the Battle of Assis-sur-Aube, March 20th to 21st, 1814. Oh, and let's not forget the Battle of Paris, March 30th and 31st, 1814. So if you were to do the campaign for France, you'd find that all these battles, the infantry would be in grey coats. So if you're going to recreate any of these battles, this box would be perfect for you. Now, only the 100 Days campaign and the War of the Seventh Coalition would see French troops not in grey coats. So in terms of yeah, late war, this is about the only time you'd probably not be using grey coats for battle. If you want to keep things on the battlefield or on your gaming table accurate. So as you can see, there are quite a few battles that allow you to use these miniatures. Now, speaking of miniatures, let's have a quick look at the free frame. All right, so let's have a look at the frame really quick. In the frame, you get 6 figures, 5 with greatcoats and 1 without. You get 6 backpacks, so there's not much to move to mix and match. There will probably be, I mean, it's easy to figure out which one goes where and where they're supposed to go. But the variety is in the heads. There's different faces over here. You got one, more very grown out looking face with like the mustache, mutton chops, and then you've got one with the hat, and one without, one not with any headgear. So that was quite nice. You have one with I think he's got a handkerchief or something underneath his shako. So this would probably mean that he's trying to keep his ears warm. So I'll probably have to flag that for if I choose to use this one. But most of the faces are very stern looking faces, very strong features. So if you're gonna paint this, it should be easy enough to go in and pick the details out. As for the backpack, it comes with some nice some variety, not so much. I mean, 6 backpacks for 6 figures is not much mix and matching. So as you know, the 2 swords are for the Voltigeurs or Grenadiers. You got what I think looks like a pot, maybe on this one looks like a pot. Maybe this looks like a pair of slippers, maybe on the backpack of the backpack, and then you've got some onions here and a cup. So I think these would be nice for campaigning stuff. Um, Now I'm gonna use the recommendations from the Wargames Illustrated to paint this. So each one will be painted differently with different basing. Now this exact frame is what you will get in the Warlord games late late French infantry box. You get 5 of these, and so in the free frame you get 1. So I can do 6 figures with this. The way I'd go about it is I'll paint each figure on its own. So the idea is they won't look as uniform as if I painted them all to one look. Each of them will have its own vibe and whole feel. I was thinking initially to go for a very nice, bigger scenic bases, but instead I will just stick to the usual square base for this ones. Simply because well, I want to display this in the store, and I want that one folks to know what they're getting instead of having to overdo the each figure. So that's pretty much it. That's the frame. I don't know how long I'll take to do this, but like I said, each one is done on its own. I have its own little like process, so they may all be a bit different in look. Hopefully, when I feature them in the dolly shot, you know, uh, there will be some difference. So I suppose this one will probably be the one with the parade ground, and um, yeah, I'll probably use that. And since the parade ground one will not really have the cups and the onions and stuff like that, so it'll probably have the short sword. So it'd probably be either a Voltigear or a guard. I'll probably paint a guard with this one. So slowly, yeah, I'm getting an idea of what to do with the frame. So that's pretty much it. The next time you see this, they'll have some paint on it. Let's get to it. I assembled one very quickly. This was a good opportunity to show you what the figure looks like before paint. I did a little bit of a basing as well. Now the figure is very nice. Yeah, have a look. The amount of detail is reasonable. The expression on the face is also very nice. There is some emotion in all the different heads that you get. And yeah, this is just one of the heads. I think this is a great wargame miniature. It's not complex and daunting. It looks simple enough to paint, and this usually helps to give them, well, the painter a little bit of confidence to tackle the whole miniature. The figure has a reasonable bulk, so for the new painter, this would be an easy job to finish. For the more experienced painter, these kinds of figures let you work on your technique while having a little bit of fun trying out new things. Um, I decided that I wanted to paint these six figures with a different look, so I could perhaps use this to show somebody curious who walks to the store, the different options or ways you could approach painting this set. Hopefully, this can be the catalyst for their own overall paint jobs for these figures. All right. Also, let's not forget, I don't have to paint 25 figures the same way, so that's a huge plus for me. To take advantage of that, I decided to go with six different kinds of bases as well. Right. The first figure I put together is this one. This one I assembled as the Voltigear on parade. I initially wanted to do a cobblestone base to show he's marching in the middle of Paris, but instead I went with a simple earthy base. Now I knew the rest of the bases in the six I was going to do, or the other five, were going to be different, but having one that was simply dark earth was a great way to start. But having said that, I did use two different kind of earth textures and two different kinds of earth colors to make the base. Why? Because if you were to just use one type of earth basing, it does seem a bit flat. Having two or maybe three, if you can, helps give the base a different. It levels the base a little bit in my experience. Now this figure was quite easy to paint. The blue was easy to put on. It was again on a nice gray undercoat. The figure itself, I tried going with a little bit of dark and light. And how I did that was I used Army Painter Strong Tone to give this a wash, but I washed the darker side over the figure on the figure's right, and give highlights on the left side of the face and the left arm to give the figure a bit of depth, right? So I don't know if it shows well on the camera, but uh, I like how it turned out. It turned out quite nice. Now the second figure uh, was uh, was something to come in play with the Russian campaign. I chose to go with the brown gray coat this time. This line infantryman, as the narrative would go, has taken this great coat from a non-combatant, and I chose the head option with the cloth wrap underneath the shako, because it looked like he was hiding his ears from frostbite. This was going to be my attempt at a cold composition, so I chose all the different ways to simulate cold on this figure. The shako was weathered down to a dark shade. The greatcoat was painted to simulate dirt on the battlefield. I even gave the face a slightly darker wash to make it seem like soot from cannon fire. Um, I used dark tone wash for this one, almost all over. I just wanted a more darker looking figure. The base was a mixture of black battlefield, snow, and stones. I tried to get a wet winter look with a bit of slate on the base as well, with ice melting and the path being trodden over by battalion upon battalion. Yeah, I think this one turned out quite well. Again, I tried to use a bit of light, but I was very careful to where the light was going to come from, because I didn't want this to be just like lit the same way the previous figure was. So I just put the highlights on places I felt would work, and this was on the moving parts of the flaps. I like how it turned out. It's overall dark and with just a little bit of like highlight, just to you know uh, mix it up a little bit. The next figure is this one, and he's wearing a Pokalem hat for some variety. The Pokalem hat is like this really light, soft. They call it what? What do they call this? It's a foraging hat, right? So, and I mean, it was a different kind of hat, and when you're doing six different kinds of figures, you definitely gravitate to this one. Now this figure is probably, as the narrative would go, is probably on a long march, lost his shako during battle. Now I did a quick double check, and I found out that the Pokelam is either worn on long marches or sentry duty, or sometimes it's also worn in the informal setting of a camp. The So this is great because it showed that perhaps this infantryman is on a long march, and he decided to wear his Pokelam. Maybe he lost his shako or something. Um, the blue for the Pokelam pulls attention to the face, because the minute I put it on, I realized that 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 my eyes immediately went to the face. The the rest of the figure is it's pretty plain. It's pretty plain. It's basically a gray coat. Um, and because it's pretty plain, I felt it was nice to have one point of focus, and I went with that, with the Pokelam being where you where the eyes would go. The base of the model is another interpretation of winter type terrain. So it's a mixture of tossed earth, so a little bit of like a lighter bits of earth, some dark earth, some stones, and put a little bit of snow as well, but not so much to overpower the base, just a little bit to give hint that it snowed at some point, and these are basically icicles or what is left after the battle, for this one. But then again, it's also on a long march, so perhaps it is while they are marching, it's going through an area that the ice has melted a little bit. Anyway, so the next figure was a fun figure to do. What I did was I clipped one of the heads from the frame, and I removed the head part and kept the shako, and then I drilled a hole in the shako and I placed it on top of the bayonet. Now I've seen this being done in pictures. I've seen this in the Waterloo movie, so I decided to use that as an inspiration to do this one. Now usually when they do this, there's some sort of celebration, and they put the shako on the edge of on the end of the bayonet, and they shove it in the air. It's a celebratory thing. And I chose to do that on this figure because this figure also has its gray coat slightly open, so it looks a bit more relaxed, right? So I'm saying that this figure is perhaps still celebrating the victory as he marches on, with the shako, and everything is he's still excited, he's still in the moment. And I like the fact that they actually gave me an opportunity to have a figure that where the base of the figure and helped me compose this. Also, if you look at the back, he's got this like pot, or is it a pan, a pot, cook stuff. I'm assuming it's a pot. But yeah, it's very nice, it's very simple, a little bit different. Now, if I was to do this in a normal regiment, I'd probably not do this, but because I've got a chance to play around as much as I can with the different free figure, the free frame, I can do one like this because this figure stands on its own narrative, perhaps on a smaller vignette, but it's done its job. Very, yeah, I like this one. I like this one very, very much. Next up, now this figure is my attempt to make a grenadier model at the end of a long campaign. Now this is a grenadier model, model head, but with the whole campaign under his belt, and the fact that he probably took a gray coat from a non-combatant because he probably lost his gray coat at some point, or he found something that's nicer or warmer, so he decided to use it instead. But this is it's a bit smaller as compared to the rest, but it's buttoned up against the cold, so I like that. And I instead of doing a gray one, I thought I'd do a little brown one instead, and that's the story behind it. Now I was reading a little bit, and I found out that towards the end of the Russia campaign, or even during the 1814 campaign for France, supplies were low, and if you lost your gray coat, it's to replace this was not gonna be easy. So you either took it from a non-combatant, or even your basic supplies, um, 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 because of again chain of supply, you're not being fully resupplied. So this figure is to show that, it's got this little garland of garlic as well. He's on campaign. He's done with campaigning. He just want to get back, as soon as he can. And as for the base, I was going with something progressively warmer as I made the bases. So I used a mixture of grass and earth, and again different kinds of earth, and you know, a little bit of grass, just not too much, just a little bit. I was hoping that again it looked like it was getting less cold, and some greens appearing on the base, and this was probably the march out of back towards warmer weather, or so yeah. So that was what I was trying to go for. I liked how it turned out. It's just like I said, it's just for me to do a narrative for another figure, and we try to do six different types. And speaking of six different types, yeah, this is the final figure, and this is a grenadier in gray coat. Instead of using the blue gray coat, I decided to go with a gray coat. This is basically just for some variety, because of the small selection I've got. If I had two in blue, just didn't feel like it would be good for the six that I've got painted up. Now, why I chose to go for something like this is because one is to again have six different kind of looks, but you can also say that once you have a study of color and how they look on different uniforms and what the options were, it's a little bit easier to paint and have an overall grasp on the colors you're going to be using. As for the as for the base, not the base, the base of I went with even more green. So I chose the lighter green flock that I've got, to show, it's new grass, and if compared to the earlier one was all just earth, this one feels like it's more green, it's less cold. The winter's probably at its end, and I mean if this was if anything, it would probably be the last few years of the late war period. Anyway, so let's have a quick look back. Here are the six miniatures. As you can see, I tried my best to make six different narratives with six different miniatures. I'm pretty happy with what I got. I'm sure some of you will have something to say about the color schemes I used, and whether this worked well for that. But I was just trying to go for what would look nice on the free frame. Um, if I were to get this box on its own, I'd probably follow each spot, each miniature, and make sure each of them are well kitted up. Like except for Voltigears with the saber and the Grenadiers with the saber, all the middle companies, looking the same. But I had an opportunity with the free frame. Now, if you're wondering why you should get a free frame from any of these magazines, right? This is what you get a chance to try different things. Use this as your test paint job, or use this as your display. This could actually be a nice little display for folks who want to look at the different kinds of possibilities for their miniatures. And ever so often, Wargames Illustrated does release, give away a free frame. So why not? I mean, I'm a fan, definitely a fan. It took me a few weeks to get these done as I was busy. Like it was the holiday, I was pretty busy with the holiday, and I was also quite busy with my personal stuff. But I got them done, and that's very very important. So we know that when you're busy, you don't have time to get some painting done. But what I do is I allocate an hour a night, 30 minutes, even if it's a little bit, right, just to get these completed. Now there's not a very big following for 28 mm Napoleonic miniature collecting here in Malaysia. So the chances to see figures like these on the table en masse are few and far between. I mean, there are some games, but they don't all. For bigger games, there isn't like a whole 20 mm thing. It's usually smaller, maybe battalion sized, conflicts. And because of that, I don't get a chance to see, you know, like I said, have a good overview on how this looks like on mass. But I suppose this is why there are not that many collectors here and painters of this scale. I mean, we got a lot of folks here who paint 15, maybe 20 mm here, but not 28 mm. But as you can see, it looks pretty good. It's just that I understand there'll be a storage problem with this, and also your table size that will definitely change when it comes to trying to accommodate games with 28 mm figures. Well, whatever the case is, I took my time with these because I wanted to enjoy them. So instead of like rushing through them like I would usually do with most free frames, I took my time and I gave it just a little bit extra. And let me just say that uh, the the figures were extremely forgiving, especially for an average painter like myself. So right, so now these figures will sit in my display cabinet as an example of the figures from this box set, and depending on what I get later, I think most of these will end up as nice displays on the shelf. Hopefully, somebody will have a look at these and get inspired, or a new person might look at these and figure to try out 28 Napoleonic painting as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the video. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.